Do you feel like an imposter, that someone's going to figure you out? This is the phenomenon of imposter syndrome. There's many times in life where all of us, different stages, different phases, could feel like an imposter, that we aren't good enough, that we shouldn't be there. The best definition that I heard or explanation of why we struggle from imposter syndrome or why we experience it is when our confidence level has not matched our competence level. For example, there might be a certain job or role in school or class that you have competence in. You're there for a reason. You got this far. You wouldn't have gotten there if you weren't competent in this skill, this place, this level. But your confidence level hasn't yet matched your level of competence. So confidence is lower than competence. When your confidence rises and meets the level of your competence, then you feel like you're where you should be. But when your confidence is lower than your competence, there's that discrepancy. You don't feel like you deserve or belong to be there, resulting in imposter syndrome. I'm an imposter. I don't feel like I fully belong here or fit these shoes or that I'm successful. Regardless of what you're doing, clearly you haven't gotten fired. You're doing your job, but your confidence level is low. That's when we experience imposter syndrome. There's a wonderful article that I'm going to read from. It's from the website Very Well Minded, and it talks about imposter syndrome. So it says imposter syndrome is an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be, as if you're a fraud. Despite being a syndrome, it's not a diagnosable mental illness. Instead, the term is usually narrowly applied to intelligence and achievement, although it also has links to perfectionism and social context. So imposter syndrome is that experience that you feel that you're a phony in some area of your life. It could be in a group of friends. It could be in a relationship. It could be as a parent. It could be in any career or job, class, level of school, education. You can feel like an imposter. So it goes on to say different types of imposter syndrome. This article has really great resources. I want to talk about characteristics: an inability to realistically assess your competence and skills. You kind of downplay everything. Attributing your success to external factors. Berating your performance. Fear that you won't live up to expectations. Are you really hard on yourself? You have the tendency to overachieve. You sabotage your own success. You have self-doubt. And setting very challenging goals and feeling disappointed when you fall short. They talk about impacts, examples of imposter syndrome. Here's a couple examples. You've been working in a certain role for a couple of months, yet when people call you by your formal title, you feel like a fraud because you haven't mastered that position. Another example is you've been nominated for an award, but you feel like an imposter at the recognition ceremony because you don't feel that your achievements are good enough to warrant the nomination. That goes into what we talked about yesterday. Foreboding joy. We don't allow ourselves to enjoy the success. We feel like a fraud. It's like the superstitious feeling of, once I fully embody my skills and my success, what are people going to think of me? Or I'm not good enough. These are really, really important points to look at here. Causes of imposter syndrome: family upbringing, new work or school opportunities, and personality. Low self-efficacy refers to your belief in your ability to succeed in any given situation. Perfectionism, can anybody relate? It plays a significant role in imposter syndrome. You might think that there is some perfect script for conversations and that you cannot say the wrong thing. You may also have trouble asking for help from others and procrastinate due to your own high standards. And neuroticism. Neuroticism is one of the big 5 personality dimensions that's linked to higher levels of anxiety, insecurity, tension, and guilt. This neuroses, something that just gnaws away. Social anxiety is another reason. How to cope. To get past imposter syndrome, it helps to start asking yourself some hard questions. Here are a few to consider. What core beliefs do I hold about myself? I want you to ask yourself that. What core beliefs do you hold about yourself? Core beliefs. Second question, do I believe I am worthy of love as I am? Do you believe that you're worthy of love just how you are? Or do you feel like you have to do something for it? And the last question is, must I be perfect for others to approve of me? Do you think you have to be perfect for others to accept and approve of you? Ooh, these are big ones. So moving past the feelings, sharing your feelings, focusing on others, assess your abilities, take baby steps, stop comparing, use social media moderately, stop fighting your feelings, and refuse to let it hold you back. Don't let imposter syndrome hold you back from new opportunities. I'll leave the link to this article. It's chock full of so many great tips and tricks and explanations that dive really deep into the topic of imposter syndrome. So, do you feel like an imposter? Do you feel like you're not good enough? Do you feel unworthy of your status, of your achievements in life? Do you downplay everything you've worked towards? I want you to ask yourself that. So, imposter syndrome, when your confidence has not reached the level of your competence. Remember, you are where you're at because you've worked towards it. You've put in the work. You can't fake that. There's many things in life we can fake, but you're exactly where you're supposed to be, or you wouldn't be there. So just remember that. I hope you enjoyed that. As always, we appreciate your support, and we will see you next time.